My girlfriend left for a girls' weekend and came back with an engagement ring. When I asked about it, she said, "We need to talk." I replied, "No need." Then I had her belongings moved out while she was at her parents' explaining her news. Her fiancé's face when he found out she'd been living with me. I, 31 male, am sitting in my empty-ish apartment right now, drinking a beer that tastes like victory and disbelief mixed together. Wild weekend. Let me break it down. Been with my girlfriend, 28, for almost 4 years, living together for 2.5 of those in my apartment. My apartment. Lease is solely in my name. Always has been. She moved in after her previous roommate situation fell apart, and it just continued. She contributed to groceries and utilities, I covered rent. Seemed fair since she was paying off student loans. Last Thursday she tells me she's going on a girls' weekend with her college friends. Cool. She does these trips maybe twice a year. I trust her, or trusted her. Past tense now, obviously. She leaves Friday morning, kiss on the cheek, love you, see you Sunday night. Normal stuff. Sunday evening rolls around. I'm on the couch playing video games when I hear her key in the lock. She walks in looking different. Like she's been crying but also weirdly happy. Hard to describe. And then I notice it. A ring. On that finger. A big one too. Definitely not the promise ring I gave her 2 years ago. "Hey babe," she says, all casual, dropping her bag. I pause my game. "What's on your hand?" She looks down like she forgot it was there. "Yeah, right. Oh, we need to talk." I just stared at her. My brain was processing about 15 different scenarios, none of them good. "We need to talk about what exactly? Because that looks like an engagement ring." She sat down across from me, took a deep breath. "So, I've been seeing someone else for about 8 months, and he proposed this weekend, and I said yes. 8 months. His name is," she started. "Don't care," I interrupted. "You've been cheating on me for 8 months, while living in my apartment, eating food I paid for, sleeping in my bed. It's not that simple. You and I have been growing apart for..." "When's the wedding?" She blinked. "What? The wedding? When is it?" "June. But listen, cool, you should probably tell your parents that big news, engagement and all." She looked confused by my calm demeanor. Honestly, I was confused by it too. Inside I was screaming. Outside, ice cold. Yes, gonna go see them tomorrow. Tell them in person." "Great idea. Family should hear this stuff face to face." "You're being really weird about this." "Am I? My girlfriend of 4 years just told me she's engaged to another man after cheating on me for 8 months. How should I be acting?" She started crying. "I didn't want it to happen this way. I was going to tell you, but then he proposed and I couldn't say no. And no need to explain," I said. "Seriously, no need." She went to bed in my bedroom. I stayed on the couch, didn't sleep a minute. Monday morning, she left for work, then texted me she was going to her parents' house after to share the news. Perfect. The second she left, I called my buddy who owns a moving company, explained the situation. He had guys available that afternoon. Emergency rate was steep, but worth every penny. While waiting, I walked through the apartment documenting everything that was mine versus hers. Took photos of the space before we started. Her stuff was actually pretty contained. Clothes, personal items, some kitchen gadgets she'd brought, her desk and books. Nothing was mixed ownership since we never combined households officially. Moving guys showed up at 2 p.m. By 5 p.m., every single item that belonged to her was loaded in a storage pod outside her parents' house. I'd called ahead to a storage company, rented a small unit, had them drop it in the driveway with a note, "Your belongings. Storage paid for 1 month. Unit code is your birthday." Changed the locks at 6 p.m. Locksmith was understanding when I gave him the abbreviated version. Then I sat down and waited. My phone started blowing up around 8 p.m. Her, "Why is all my stuff at my parents' house?" Her, "Did you change the locks? You can't do this. I live there." Her, "Mom, what is going on? Why are we looking at a storage container?" Her, "I'm coming over. You better answer." I turned my phone to silent and ordered Thai food. The doorbell started ringing around 9:30 p.m. Then knocking. Then her voice through the door. "Open up. You can't just throw me out. I have tenant rights." I spoke through the door. "You're not on the lease. You've been cheating on me for 8 months. You're engaged to another man. Consider this your move-out notice." "I'll call the cops." Go ahead, explain to them that you want back into your ex-boyfriend's apartment. Silence. Then crying. Then her mom's voice, she'd driven over too, apparently. Young man, you open this door right now. My daughter has rights. Ma'am, your daughter has a fiancé, maybe she should stay with him. More silence. Then I heard them leave. Here's where it gets interesting. Remember how she said she was going to her parents to share the good news? Well, her new fiancé apparently didn't know she'd been living with someone. He thought she had her own place. Her parents didn't even know we were still together. She'd told them we broke up months ago. The web of lies this woman had constructed was actually impressive in a sick way. My phone rang around 11 p.m., unknown number. I answered because I was curious. Is this me? Male voice. Shaky. Speaking. I'm her fiancé. I think we need to talk. Oh buddy, I said. Yeah, we really do. Update 1, 4 days later. So that phone call with the fiancé. Yeah, that was something. He sounded destroyed, legitimately broken. Turns out my now ex had told him she lived with a female roommate. When she'd go home to her apartment, she was actually coming to my place. The nights she stayed with him, she'd tell me she was working late or at her friend's place. The level of logistical coordination required for this double life was honestly insane. She told me you were her ex from years ago, he said. That you were totally out of the picture. Buddy, I was in the picture until approximately 48 hours ago when she walked in wearing your ring. He asked if we could meet. Talk in person. I said sure. We met at a coffee shop Tuesday afternoon. Nice guy actually, about my age, works in finance. Clearly had money, explains the ring. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. How did you not know? I asked, not accusatory, genuinely curious. She was so convincing. She'd video call me from her apartment, and I now realize she was always in the same corner of your apartment. The background always looked the same because it was the same. She told me you were her cousin when your name popped up on her phone once. He laughed bitterly. Cousin, that's creative. We compared notes. 8 months of overlapping timelines, lies, fake business trips, family emergencies. She'd actually told him she was going on a work retreat this weekend, the weekend she was supposedly on a girls' trip where he proposed. Wait, I said. You proposed at a work retreat you thought she was attending? No, I surprised her there, flew out Thursday night, proposed Friday. So there was no girls' weekend, there was no work retreat, there was just a hotel room somewhere where she was going to meet him, and she'd lied to both of us about the circumstances. What are you going to do? I asked. I don't know, man. I love her. Or I thought I did. I don't know who I've been loving. She's not who either of us thought she was. He nodded. We shook hands and parted ways. Strange bonding experience. Meanwhile, the entitlement parade had begun in full force. My ex had apparently decided that the best strategy was denial and attack. Her mother called me Wednesday morning. You need to let her back in to get the rest of her things. All her things are in the storage unit. She says you kept some of her belongings, valuable items. Every item she owned is in that pod. I documented everything before the movers touched it. She says you're lying. Cool. She also told her fiancé she lived with a female roommate and told you we broke up months ago. I'm sure her credibility is ironclad. Click. She hung up on me. Then came the sister. Oh, the sister. She showed up at my door Thursday evening. Hey, jerk, she said when I cracked the door. We need to discuss your behavior. My behavior? You traumatized my sister. She's been crying for days. She cheated on me for 8 months and got engaged to another man while living in my apartment. I moved her stuff out. I'm struggling to find the trauma here. She made a mistake. People make mistakes. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. An 8-month affair and secret engagement is a lifestyle choice. You're being vindictive. She wants to come get some things she says you kept. I didn't keep anything. Everything is in the storage unit. She says there's jewelry and... The only jewelry in this apartment is the promise ring I gave her, which she left on the kitchen counter. I assume she didn't want it conflicting with her engagement ring. The sister's face twitched. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm making it exactly as hard as she made my last 4 years. Actually, I'm being nicer. I could have dumped everything on the curb. She left muttering about what a terrible person I am. Friday brought the wild card. My ex's best friend, the one she was supposedly having a girls' weekend with. Except, plot twist, there was no girls' weekend. She texted me, "Hey, can we talk? I feel terrible." We met for coffee. She looked genuinely upset. "I had no idea," she said. She told me she needed me to cover for her if you ever asked about the trip. Said she was planning a surprise for your birthday. I thought I was helping her plan something nice. My birthday is in February. I know that now. She put her head in her hands. I helped her cheat. I feel awful. You didn't know, but I should have asked more questions. She used me. This was the first person in her orbit who wasn't immediately attacking me or making excuses. Refreshing. "What's she saying about all this?" I asked. "That you overreacted. That she was going to end it with you anyway and you just sped up the timeline. That you're being petty." Petty. Interesting word choice for a guy who got cheated on and simply removed the cheater from his home. I know. I told her she was delusional. She didn't appreciate that. I don't think we're friends anymore. Welcome to the club. Update 2. 2 weeks later. The situation escalated in ways I genuinely didn't anticipate. First, the fiancé broke off the engagement. Couldn't get past the lies. Can't say I blame him. He texted me to let me know. Said he appreciated me being straight with him. I told him no hard feelings toward him, and meant it. Dude was as much a victim as I was. My ex's reaction to losing the engagement was nuclear. She called me 17 times in one day. Left voicemails that ranged from sobbing apologies to screaming accusations. The highlights: "You ruined my life. I was going to be happy. I never loved him. I was going to come back to you. You turned him against me. This is your fault." Fascinating how she was simultaneously going to be happy with him and was going to come back to me. Schrodinger's cheater. I didn't respond to any of it. Just screenshotted everything for documentation. Then came the dirty tricks. Trick 1. She told her parents I had been emotionally abusive throughout our relationship. Her dad called me, voice shaking with anger, demanding to know what I'd done to his little girl. I calmly asked him to ask his daughter why she maintained a secret boyfriend for 8 months while living with me rent-free. He hung up, but I heard the doubt in his voice before he did. Trick 2. She showed up at my apartment with a cop, said she needed a civil standby to retrieve her belongings. I invited them both in, showed the officer the photos I'd taken before the move-out, the storage unit rental agreement, the note I'd left. He looked at her. "Ma'am, it appears he returned all your belongings to you. But he kept some things." "I know he did." "What specifically?" "Just things." The officer gave me a look that said he understood exactly what was happening. They left. She was furious. Trick 3. This one hurt. She contacted my younger brother's girlfriend and told her I had violent tendencies and she should be careful. When my brother called me confused, I had to explain the whole situation. He was mad, not at me, at her. His girlfriend didn't believe the accusations for a second, thankfully. Trick 4. She tried to claim she'd paid rent, sent me a Venmo request for $14,000, citing rent payments over 2 years. Except she'd never paid rent. Not once. And Venmo has records. My contributions to the shared expenses were all documented. Hers were groceries and utilities, which I had records of as well. I declined the request with a simple lol no. Her mom tried a different approach, the guilt trip. She called me, voice soft and motherly. "You know she's really struggling. Lost her fiancé, lost her home, lost you. She's staying in her childhood bedroom crying all day. Is this really what you wanted?" What I wanted was a girlfriend who didn't cheat on me for 8 months and get engaged to another man. But we don't always get what we want, do we? She made a mistake, a big one. But 4 years has to mean something. It meant something to me, apparently not to her. She made her choice. Several choices, actually, over 8 months. This isn't one mistake, it's a pattern. You could give her another chance. She was using me for free housing while building a life with someone else. That's not a mistake, that's a strategy that failed. I'm not the backup plan she gets to activate because plan A fell through. Silence. You've changed. You used to be such a nice young man. I'm still nice, just not stupid anymore. She hung up. My ex made one last attempt herself, showed up at my workplace, just appeared in the lobby, asking the receptionist to call me down for a family emergency. Luckily, my receptionist is a real one. She knew the situation. I'd given her a heads up. She called me first. "There's a woman here claiming to be your sister. Says there's an emergency." "I don't have a sister. That's my ex. Please ask her to leave." Receptionist, loud enough for my ex to hear. "I'm sorry, ma'am. He says you're his ex-girlfriend and asks that you leave the premises." I could hear the explosion from my desk, 3 floors up. Security escorted her out. She was crying and yelling about how I was destroying her life and refusing to even talk. The security footage apparently became somewhat legendary in the building. My boss asked me about it later. I gave him the abbreviated version. He laughed and said, "Women, am I right?" Which was inappropriate, but also kind of validating. Final update, 6 weeks later. It's been about 2 months since the engagement ring revelation. Time to wrap this up. The aftermath shook out in ways I couldn't have predicted. First, the ex. She moved back to her college town. Apparently, the humiliation of everyone finding out about her double life was too much. Her friend, the one who reached out to me, told me the full extent of the fallout. The fiancé hadn't just broken off the engagement, he'd told his family why. His mom apparently ran in the same social circles as my ex's mom's book club friends or something. Small world. The story spread. My ex went from getting engaged to got caught living with her boyfriend while getting engaged to another man in the span of about 10 days. Social death. Her job situation got complicated too. Not because of anything I did, I stayed completely out of that lane. But her fiancé worked in the same industry. Different company, but lots of professional overlap. Networking events became awkward. She ended up transferring to a different office in another state. Technically a lateral move, but everyone knew it was an escape. As for me, the apartment felt weird for a while. Too quiet. I deep cleaned everything, threw out the sheets, bought new ones, rearranged the furniture so nothing was where it used to be when she was there. Financially, I was fine. Never combined anything significant with her. The storage unit I'd prepaid for ran out last month. Her parents picked up her stuff before the deadline. No contact with me, probably for the best. The fiancé texted me one last time about a month ago, said he was doing better, starting to date again. Thanked me for being honest with him when we met up. I wished him luck, genuinely. My brother and his girlfriend checked in regularly for a few weeks. The attempted reputation smear didn't work, but it pissed them off on my behalf. Brother said if he ever saw my ex again, he'd have words. I told him not to bother. She wasn't worth the energy. The weirdest part? My ex's dad sent me a letter. Actual handwritten letter. Apologized for the phone call where he accused me of abuse. Said his daughter had finally told them the truth, and he was ashamed of how they'd treated me. Hoped I'd find someone who deserved me. I didn't respond, wasn't sure what to say. But I kept the letter. Sometimes people surprise you. My ex tried to reach out one final time. Email, since I'd blocked her everywhere else. Long message about how she'd been lost and made terrible decisions, and hoped someday I could understand. I read it, didn't respond. Understanding doesn't mean forgiveness, and forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I understand exactly what happened. She wanted to have it all. The stable boyfriend at home, the exciting new relationship on the side. She got caught and lost everything. That's not my fault. That's not even tragic. That's just consequences. I'm not going to pretend I'm totally fine. Trust issues are real. Started seeing a therapist not because I'm broken, but because processing 4 years of what I thought was real being revealed as partially fake takes work. My therapist says I handled everything remarkably well considering the circumstances. I told her I just did what made sense. She said that's exactly what healthy people do. The dating apps are downloaded but mostly untouched, not ready yet. And that's okay. What I've learned from all this, trust your gut, but also trust documentation. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them immediately. And when you own the apartment, the lease, and the locks, you own the exit strategy. She played a complicated game with multiple players and thought she was winning. Turns out she was just juggling, and eventually, you dropped the balls. I didn't do anything dramatic. Didn't key anyone's car or blast anything online. Just removed myself from her game entirely and let reality do the heavy lifting. Sometimes the best revenge is just being done. Walking away completely. letting them figure out how to survive when the safety net they were secretly using gets pulled out from under them. She lost the engagement, the apartment, the backup plan, her social circle, her job, and had to move back home as an adult. All I did was change some locks and hire some movers. Actions have consequences. Sometimes those consequences have storage fees. Anyway, thanks for following along. Time to close this chapter and figure out what comes next. Whatever it is, it won't involve engagement rings that aren't mine.